I know the story about you grew up near the harness farm and you helped out with the horses there, and then later after you, or through playing ball, you were looking for something to do, and how is it that you stumbled on the Sport of Kings?
Yeah, it's it's kind of dumb luck, really. I was just right place, right time. But kind of like how the story with how I got involved with him. But I was playing golf with some people. We come in done playing golf, and I start watching horse racing. And I'm like, it's like, middle of the afternoon on a Tuesday or something. It's like, what? There's horse racing on, right? So it's like, I'm like, all right, like that's cool. Then you kind of do. You typically you play the same game every week. You're so like every week, here I am playing. Oh yeah, here we are Tuesday afternoon. Horse races on. I'm like, pretty soon I figure out it's on every day. And then one of the guys I played with became a buddy of mine, Rich Averill. He's been doing horse racing for 20 years or so. And so I started picking his brain and asking him. I'm like, this is kind of fun. Like how do you get in? He's like, oh, we can figure it out. We get you in on a couple horses or whatever you want. So like, all right. So I get one or two. And one of the first horses I have is a Arcali Kim. That was just, she's just the sweetest horse in the world. So my entry into horses was a really nice, sweet filly that you could go up and pet and like hang out with. And she just recently got injured, and she's in the digital sale now. And it's just heartbreaking just talking to Brendan about her. Like, we were going to run some big races. We were talking about running in the Breeders' Cup, Classic this year at the end. I guess not the Classic, but the long race for the mares. And in a short period of time, it's like we have success. But you got a horse like Arcali Kim that's like you go. We're over there seeing her, everybody's hugging on her, doing group pictures, whatever. And you come see this guy, and you can't stand close enough, or too close, because they'll bite you. So, it's wild. But that's how I got a couple horses with Rich, and then pretty soon we were at the sales buying yearlings. At one point, I had parts of 30 30 horses. So it was like I went from 2 to 30 in a hurry, and now we've got it back down to more of a manageable number. I think that for a new time. Kind of a rookie horse owner, we definitely bit off more than we could chew, and then we're kind of getting a little reconfigured and see how this year goes. We got some nice horses, running at some higher levels, and kind of still learning the game as we go.
You bought him as a yearling. You were part of the group that bought him as a yearling, and then that Mage wins the Derby. His full brother. What was that like for you watching the Derby?
Well, it's a crazy story how we end up sitting in the Winter Circle Suites on Derby Day. It was almost like, with Mage running, it was almost like we had a horse in the Derby because we knew we had Dornoch. But you never know how good these horses are going to be, and Mage was kind of a long shot too. So we were pulling for Mage hard, every which way, and then to be sitting in those seats where the only way you usually typically sit there is if you have a horse in the Derby, and then for Mage to run like he did and win, it was. We felt like we won the Kentucky Derby. Obviously, we didn't, but we got those those emotions, those feelings, and we're like, this is where you want to be. This is how you want to watch the Kentucky Derby, and hopefully we'll be back next year. And to think we have a shot with this guy, Mage's full brother, it's crazy to think.
People who win the Derby say you can't imagine. You think you can imagine what it's like until you do it, and then it makes you exponentially want to win it more again. Do you feel like you've won it once now, so you exponentially want to win it more?
I would say I could see how that's the reality. It's like anything in sports. You're always striving to be the best and win the biggest prize. So when you get a little glimpse of that and you see it up close as we did, I can definitely see how that becomes almost like a full-time addiction. That's like, I can see why some of these bigger owners that have been around for a while, that some of the top guys that run for the Derby every year, why they do it the way they do it, and how much money they spend on horses to give themselves a chance, because there's nothing like it. I think it's one of the greatest feats in sport. That's why winning the Triple Crown only happens not very often. You never know what's going to happen. Lightning could strike it. It didn't happen for a long time. Then it happened, a bunch of times in a row there with some of those horses more recently. But it's I'd say it's the biggest accomplishment in professional sports is to wear the Triple Crown.
Are you surprised that you get nervous before the races? As you said, you like almost physically sick
Yeah,
you didn't as a
no,
pro athlete.
This getting nervous thing is like is new to me. This is not something I know how to deal with. So I'm managing these emotions at a much older age in life that I probably should. I don't know. It's I don't even like feeling nervous either. So I'm not accustomed to it. I don't like it, and it's just it's mind blowing. These races. And it doesn't matter. I can be running at Tampa on a Thursday afternoon in a 16 claimer. I have the same problems.
So what is it about winning that makes it this agony you go through in the run up to the race? What is it that makes it worth it?
Well, that's
to
a
you?
good question, right? So why do this to yourself? That's the part of it that I really love about horse racing is you bring in this potential for winning when you do win, even if it's a lower level race. That is filling a void in my life that I have that I didn't really expect that I would have.
You didn't know you had it.
And I know I had once I retired from playing baseball. And I would play. We play 162 games a year. I played professionally for 22 years, and then all of a sudden it was over, and it was like I missed that feeling. I missed that. I missed going out there and going through the process to win. And that's what it's all about. You want to win every night. And I played on some great teams. I was on division championship teams almost every year of my career, and we were always playing to win a World Series. So that part of horse racing I get, and that part is what has filled this void in my life since I retired. And I think that's the best part about horse racing for guys like me, retired athletes. You let them do all the work, and then it gives you that fulfillment, that chance to win again. That's what you did your whole life, and then all of a sudden it's hard to replicate, and there's no really other way to do it. You can't play like any sport. You can't. I mean, I don't know. I haven't found another way to do it. That's why I love this sport.
When you're watching a race like the Remsen, where he beats Sierra Leone a nose, are you feeling like you're wanting to will yourself almost to be part of him, like when you're an athlete, to maybe get that extra base or throw in the?
Yeah, I think that is what it's all about. And that's what I tell people. Like the owning a horse, regardless of how big the race, owning the horse when it's coming down the front straightaway and you own it, not when you bet on it, but when you own it, is the best feeling in sports. And when you win, it is like winning a playoff game. It is like winning a World Series game. And I know because I can compare it. I've done it at the highest level, and that's the feeling you get when you win a playoff game. When you win a big game, like winning a horse race, regardless of what level it is. That's those emotions, and those are those. The chemical reaction in your brain. That's what happens, and that's what it's like. That's what you're going for.
So, final out of the 2008 World Series, you felt the same as when he won the Remsen or the Fountain of Youth.
It's a very similar feeling.
Yeah,
it's wild, and it's like and I've even like any playoff game, it gives yourself that chance. Obviously, winning a World Series, like total dopamine dump, like. You sleep for 3 days afterwards, and like it's the craziest thing because you climb the highest peak. But that like chemical reaction in your brain that happens when that goes on, that's very similar, same type of stuff going on up there when you win a horse race. And
but
it's hard. It's you can't reproduce it.
In baseball, you got a long season to get you to the playoffs, and then you got to win best of 5, then best of 7 and stuff. So you. A whole different. Compare that to qualifying for the Kentucky Derby. He's already in the Kentucky Derby because he won the last race. So it's a whole different.
Yeah. Well, I think that's some of the nerves that come in because somebody told me once that there's 100 things that have to go right for you to run in a race. So that's 100 things that I have no control over. So and yeah, he's got enough points to run, but I mean there's still a million things that have to happen. We got to get through today. He's got to travel to Churchill. He's got to train all week. They're professional athletes. They stuff happens. Injuries happen. Stuff can go not optimal where you wouldn't be able to play that day. I mean that's just the reality of all sports. So there's a lot that has to happen from now until then. So I think that's some of what causes the nervous breakdown that happens on race day, but that's you do it because of the potential, and like to win a race is one of the greatest feelings in the world.
Characteristics as a horse, his personality, being mean or whatever. Does he remind you of a baseball player?
He reminds me of a high level professional athlete. He's a pro. By that I mean, he works hard, he trains hard, he eats right. He's in great shape. He's got the mentality for it. When you get him in the paddock and walking around, you see a side of him that you don't see over here when you're feeding peppermints. And he could definitely turn it on game day. And he's got the ability and he's got the talent. And with that, you got to have the mind. And I think that he's proven that he's of that class. And he's just hitting stride here. And he's still a baby. He's 3 years old. So there's a lot to him. That's for sure.
You were talking about these entities that really point for the Derby, and they might buy 50, 100 yearlings, all expensive, with the idea of trying to get the first Saturday made. Do you see yourself kind of maybe trying to, now that you've been on the campaign, trying to go that route, or do you want a more diversified stable?
Well, I don't know yet. I'm still trying to figure it out. I do know that this is an amazing game, and I see myself continuing. But with that said, I mean, maybe there's a way to do it that I haven't figured out yet, and that maybe that's people that haven't figured out yet. There might be a different way to approach this that I've been thinking about, and I think there's a way to grow this sport that hasn't been accomplished yet, because it's I think it's very underrated, and I think it could be a lot more popular when you bring people to races that don't know horse racing. They love it. They fall in love with it really fast, and it's an amazing sport. So I think there might be an avenue for me to help grow the sport in a way that maybe other people haven't yet, and I'm thinking about that.